crate.
Crate.
One of my favorite places to shop are container stores where you can get bins, boxes and crates to organize your life.
One of my favorite places to shop of the container store where you can get bin, box and crate to organize yourself.
I put the glasses in a crate and took them outside.
I put the glass in the crate and took them outside.
4 men gingerly carried the crate from the wagon into a small, high-walled backyard.
4 men gingerly carried the crate from the wagon into a small, high-walled backyard.
Strain.
Strain.
Strain. Strain. Strain.
Strain. Strain. Strain.
Starting a new business will take its toll on your time and energy, and this can place strain on family and social relationships, depending on their expectations and how open you are in your communication with them.
Starting a new business will tax it to a toll in your time and energy, and this can place strain on family and social relationships, depending on their expectation and how open you are in your communication with them.
She was under great strain preparing for the important interview.
She was under great strain preparing for interview. Important.
The new elephants strained at their ropes, and squealed and trumpeted from time to time.
The new elephant strained at their rope, and squealed and trumpeted from time to time.
Goodness.
Goodness.
Goodness. Goodness. Goodness.
Goodness. Goodness. Goodness.
Goodness is the only investment that never fails.
Goodness is the only investment that never fails.
She helped her friend out of the goodness of her heart.
She helped her friend out of the goodness of her heart.
Again, it deceiveth about many things in man, that many a shell is poor and pitiable, and too much of a shell. Much concealed goodness and power is never dreamt of, the choicest dainties find no tasters.
Again, it is deceptive about many things in man, that many a shell in poor and pitiable, and too much of the shell, virtue, coxswain, goodness, and power is never dream of it. The choice dentists find no taste.
Public.
Public.
A wise man makes his own decisions, an ignorant man follows the public opinion.
The wise man makes his own decision, and ignorant man follows the public opinion.
The country club is not open to the public.
The country club is not open to the public.
He always persistently refused public appointments.
He always persistently refused public appointment.
Devil.
Devil.
Devil. Devil. Devil.
Devil. Devil. Devil.
The devil has put a penalty on all things we enjoy in life. Either we suffer in health or we suffer in soul or we get fat.
The evil has put a penalty on all things we enjoy in life. Either we suffer in health or we suffer in soul or we get fat.
He is acting like a little devil.
He is acting like a little devil.
If anybody's seen more wickedness, it must be the devil himself.
If anybody sees more weakness, it must be the devil himself.
Height.
Height.
Height. Height. Height.
Height. Height. Height.
Never measure the height of a mountain until you have reached the top.
Never measure the height of the mountain until you have reached the top.
I used a tape measure to find out the height of the dresser.
I use a tape measure to find out how is the dresser.
He was a great aristocrat and a good-looking man, above middle height and with attractive features, in spite of his hard forehead and his rather cold eyes.
He was quite recipient and good-looking man, above the middle height and with attractive features, in spite of his hard forehead and his rather cold eye.
Ashore.
Ashore.
Ashore. Ashore. Ashore.
Ashore. Ashore. Ashore.
Great men show politeness in a particular way. A smile suffices to assure you that you are welcome, and keep about their avocations as if you were a member of the family.
Great men show politeness in the particular way. A smile support to assure you that you were welcome, and keep about their avocation as if you are a member of the family.
Making a reservation in advance will assure you a seat in the theater.
Making a reservation in advance will assure you a seat in the theater.
The transition is a keen one, I assure you, from a schoolmaster to a sailor, and requires a strong decoction of Seneca and the Stoics to enable you to grin and bear it. But even this wears off in time. The transition is a keen one, I assure you, from a schoolmaster to a sailor, and requires a strong decoction of Seneca and the Stoics to enable you to grin and bear it. But even this wears off in time. Local.
Local.
The way to change the world is through individual responsibility and taking local action in your own community.
The way to change the world is through individual responsibility and take a local action in your own community.
The local museum provides information on the history of the town.
The local museum provides information on the history of the town.
Finally, they got up the rapids all right, with local help.
Finally, they got left the outline with the local help.
Tune.
Tune.
Tune. Tune. Tune.
Tune. Tune. Tune.
Music is nothing else but wild sound civilized into time and tune.
Music is nothing else but wild sound civilized onto time and tune.
She followed the tune of the music with her guitar.
She followed the tune of the music with her guitar.
Seize.
Siege.
Seize. Seize. Seize.
Siege. Siege. Siege.
Be ready for when your time comes, you will have that window of opportunity, so seize the moment and capitalize on it.
Be ready for when your time comes. You will have the window of the opportunity, so seize the moment and capitalize on it.
The government will seize any property obtained through illegal means.
The government will seize any property obtained through the legal means.
Christine seized Raoul's arm and clutched it with a strength which no one would have suspected in so frail a creature.
Christine seized Lou's arm and clutched it with a strength which no one would have suspected in so bad a creature.
Arrow.
Arrow.
I have been practicing archery for a long time. A bow and arrow helps me to unwind.
I have been practicing archery for a long time. A bow and arrow help me to unwind.
The crowd followed the sign with the large arrow drawn on it.
The crowd followed the sign with the large arrow drawn on it.
At my most vulnerable point did they shoot the arrow, namely, at you, whose skin is like down, or more like the smile that dieth at a glance. At my most vulnerable point did they shoot the arrow, namely, at you, whose skin is like down, or more like the smile that dieth at a glance. Original.
Original.
Original. Original. Original.
Original. Original. Original.
Be original, don't be scared of being bold.
Be original. Don't be scared of the being bored.
Although the painting is beautiful, it is not the original.
Although the painting is beautiful, it is not the original.
He took a paper which had lost its original color.
He took paper which had lost its original color.
Fry.
Fry.
A quick shallow fry is a great way to transform leftovers, and no more so than in the case of risotto.
A quick shallow fry is a great way to transport leftovers, and no more so than in the case of the risotto.
The chef will fry the mushrooms in oil before plating them.
The chef will fry the mushroom in oil before prep them.
She will be back soon, I think, so fry your cakes, and have everything ready.
She will be back soon, I think, so fry your cake and have everything ready.
Canal.
Canal. Canal.
Canal. Canal. Canal.
Canal. Canal. Canal.
During the past few weeks, I felt sometimes that the Suez Canal was flowing through my drawing room.
During the past few weeks, I felt sometimes that Suez Canal was swimming through my drawing room.
The water of the canal is quite dirty and polluted.
The water of the canal is quite dirty and polluted.
There is a canal 2 rods wide along the northerly and westerly sides, and wider still at the east end.
There is a canal 2 rods wide along the northerly and westerly side, and wide still at east end.
Sway.
Sway.
Sway. Sway. Sway.
Sway. Sway. Sway.
When fear rushed in, I learned how to hear my heart racing but refused to allow my feelings to sway me.
When Bill rushed in, I learned how to hear my heart racing, but refused to allow my feelings to sway me.
The crowd started to sway along with the music at the concert.
The crowd started to sway along with the music at the concert.
The lines of the monkeys swayed forward helplessly, and Baloo and Bagheera took one stiff step forward with them.
The line of the monkeys swayed forward helplessly, and Baloo and Beluga took up the steep step forward with them.
Gentleman.
Gentlemen.
A gentleman is one who never hurts anyone's feelings unintentionally.
Gentleman is one who never hurt anyone's feelings unintentionally.
The gentleman opened the door for the woman.
The gentleman opened the door for the woman.
You know you can't be my fairy, Tink, because I am a gentleman and you are a lady.
You know you can't my fairy, Tink, because I'm a gentleman and you are a lady.
Sour.
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 They may be small, but microgreens are intensely flavorful, ranging from sweet to spicy to tart to sour.
They may be small, but microgreen and intensely flavorful, ranging from sweet to spicy to tart to sour.
My face puckered up after taking a bite of the sour lemon.
My face is poking out after taking a bite of the sour lemon.
A sour wine, moreover, or a souring, for its influence on the mood of those who drank it was to make them gloomy.
The sour wine, moreover, and saucy, for its influence on the mood of those who drank it was to make it gloomy.
Target.
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 Maintain that motivation to go from A to B and to keep your focus on that target without any weakening. That is called tenacity, stamina in your motivation.
Maintain the motivation to go from A to B and to keep your focus on that target without any weakening. That is called intensity, stamina in your motivation.
The boys set up a target to practice shooting.
The boy set up a target to practice shooting.
His eyes were rigidly focused towards a very distant target.
The eye was diligently focused toward a very distant target.
Reckon.
Reckon.
Reckon. Reckon. Reckon.
Reckon.
A few people have said my granddad looks like me, but I reckon he's far better looking.
A few people have said my granddad look like me, but I reckon he's far better looking.
Based on the current score, I reckon that the home team will win the game.
Based on the current score, I reckon that home team will win the game.
I have reckoned upon a medium, that a child just born will weigh 12 pounds, and in a solar year, if tolerably nursed, increaseth to 28 pounds. I have reckoned upon a medium, that a child just born will weigh 12 pounds, and in a solar year, if tolerably nursed, increaseth to 28 pounds. Switch.
Sweet.
Switch. Switch. Switch.
Sweet.
The creative process is not controlled by a switch you can simply turn on or off, it's with you all the time.
The creative process not controlled by switch you can simply turn on or off. It's with you all the time.
I had to switch the batteries in the remote.
I have switched the battery in the remote.
The French, excited by all that had happened, were talking loudly among themselves, but as they passed Dolokhov, who gently switched his boots with his whip and watched them with cold glassy eyes that boded no good, they became silent. The French, excited by all that had happened, were talking loudly among themselves, but as they passed Dolokhov, who gently switched his boots with his whip and watched them with cold glassy eyes that boded no good, they became silent. Exhaust. 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 If you exhaust natural resources, there will be nothing left for your children.
If you exhaust the natural resource, there will be nothing left for your children.
Not wanting to exhaust herself, the girl took a nap before working all night.
Not wanting to exhaust herself, the girl took a nap before working all night.
Fernand wiped away the perspiration steaming from his brow, and slowly entered the arbor, whose shade seemed to restore somewhat of calmness to his senses, and whose coolness somewhat of refreshment to his exhausted body. Fernand wiped away the perspiration steaming from his brow, and slowly entered the arbor, whose shade seemed to restore somewhat of calmness to his senses, and whose coolness somewhat of refreshment to his exhausted body. Brilliant. Brilliant. I think I was so successful, not because I was brilliant, but because I was so young. I had no fear of consequences.
I think I was successful, but because I was brilliant, but because I was so young, I have no fear of the consequences.
His idea was brilliant, although it might be hard to execute.
His idea was brilliant, although it might be hard to execute.
One of them invented what seemed to him a brilliant idea.
One man invented what seemed to him a brilliant idea.
Midnight. Beginning today, treat everyone you meet as if they were going to be dead by midnight. Extend to them all the care, kindness and understanding you can muster, and do it with no thought of any reward. Your life will never be the same again.
Beginning today, treat everyone you meet as if they were going to be dead by midnight. is sent to them or the kill. Kindness and understand that you can muster and do it with no thought of any reward. Your life will never be same again.
I stayed up until midnight watching the show.
I stayed up until midnight watching the show.
About midnight that steak was cut and cooked.
And midnight that steak was cut and cooked.
Lately.
Lately.
Lately. Lately. Lately.
Lately. Lately. Lately.
We are reminded how short life really is, and how we are just passing through. So, all the people you haven't told you love lately, tell them, and live your days like you mean it.
We are reminded how short life really, and how we are just pass through. So all the people you haven't told you love lately, tell them, and live your day like you mean it.
My sister has been in a bad mood lately.
My sister has been in bad mood lately.
I had seen little of homes lately.
I had been little of the homes lately.
Defend.
Depend.
You can't defend. You can't prevent. The only thing you can do is detect and respond.
You can't depend. You can't prevent. The only thing you can do, detect and respond.
Both siblings tried to defend themselves to their parents.
Both siblings tried to defend themselves to their parents.
His throat was gripped by invisible fingers, and he left his hold on the handle to defend himself.
His throat was gripped in individual finger, and he left his hold on handle to defend himself.
Lonely.
Lonely.
There's a tremendous difference between alone and lonely. You could be lonely in a group of people.
There are tremendous difference between alone and lonely. You could be lonely in group of the people.
The lonely girl ate lunch by herself.
The lonely girl ate lunch by herself.
It will be rather lonely in the evening.
It will be rather lonely in the evening.
Imagination.
Imagination.
Imagination will often carry us to worlds that never were. But without it we go nowhere.
Imagination will often carry us to worlds that never were. But without it we go nowhere.
Kids usually have a wild imagination.
Kids usually have the wide imagination.
Imaginations rise of themselves, and have no cause, others that they rise most commonly from the will.
Imagination rise of themselves, and have no cause, other that they rise most commonly from the will.
Medical.
Medical.
When I was a fourth-year medical student, I had a patient who still sticks in my mind.
When I was a fourth-year medical student, I had a patient who still sticks in my mind.
She had a medical emergency and couldn't come to work.
She had a medical emergency and couldn't come to work.
You are not yet released from medical treatment for this very defect.
You are not yet released from medical treatment for very defect.
Canteen.
Canteen.
The canteen offers delicious meals at a cheap price.
The canteen offers delicious meal at a cheap price.
Squeak.
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 I love hearing the gym shoes squeak.
I love hearing the gym shoes squeak.
If you squeeze the toy, it will squeak.
If you squeeze the toy, it will squeak.